John Cena returned home to Boston last night on Raw for the kickoff of the Last Time Is Now tournament. What did the Never Seen 17 have to say to his fans and the competitors vying for an opportunity to compete against a future Hall of Famer in his final match? Find out now with this recap of last night's show, complete with ratings and analysis for each match and segment, for This Is Ridiculously Raw. Hey there, welcome everybody to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting the presence of the Phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then hopefully we'll have him back with us Thursday night for College Football Thursday. Speaking of Michael Bullock, last night Bullock and I, we had our Raw chat, and we've been doing our Raw chat for many years. And I can honestly say, last night may have been the greatest Raw chat we ever had. Bar none. And I know if he were here, he would agree with my sentiments, because from the moment the show started to the very end, we were beyond engaged. The show flew by like that. You couldn't tell it was a near 2.5 hour show. It was not a chore to sit through. And there was not one bad thing on this show. So we're going to have a lot of positive sentiments about last night's show. We got Monday Night Raw coming up. We have NXT. And, of course, Thursday Night Football with the New York Jets and the New England Patriots. We'll get into that in just a little bit. So with all that being said, let us dive in to Monday Night Raw. Last night, from the TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts, one of the original hotspots of WWE back when it was the World Wrestling Federation. And from all the stories that myself and MF have shared on our shows over these last several years, and you knew it was going to be a special show last night. And you know it's a special show when the boss himself shows up. Papa H, Triple H, in the ring. Triple H kicked off last night's show with a passionate promo arguing that Boston's Own was the greatest of all time before introducing the man of the hour, John Cena, who entered the TD Garden to a deafening ovation. Cena thanked the fans and revealed that on December 13th, not only will he wrestle his last match, but that particular edition of Saturday night's main event will also feature exhibition matches between main roster and NXT stars in an effort to open the door to the future while his door closes. Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Dominic Mysterio interrupted to a chorus of boos, talked trash, and threatened to put Cena down. A more colorful version of a "You Messed Up" chant reigned from the stands, and the Never Seen 17 fired up, warning Dirty Dom he had messed with the wrong guy at the wrong time in the wrong place. Dominic insulted Cena by saying, "I'm not even at my peak, and I'm better than you were at your prime." And then Triple H interrupted, agreed with the fans' assessment of the heel's actions, and made an Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match between Dominic Mysterio and John Cena. And we had something on this show that we have not had in a long time. A 2-for-1 deal. Yeah, 2-for-1 deal. It's not often we get those anymore, but we got one here. The Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship on the line, champion Dominic Mysterio defending against John Cena, and the winner of the match in 12 minutes and 15 seconds. And new Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, John Cena. I'm not going to take from MF. We know I'm going to let MF have his moment because I know it was both in this case. Whereas later in the show, both were not the case. But we'll get into that at the end. this was all right. Let's start with the promo. This was an outstanding promo that allowed John Cena to take center stage in front of his friends and family, deliver the news about Saturday night's main event, and set up the opener against Dominic Mysterio. Everyone handled their roles to perfection, and the crowd was electric. That was a great segment of television. As for the match, 3.5, teetering on 4 stars. But Bullock and I made a decree that the crowd in Boston was a 5-star crowd. We talked about, when it comes to the crowds this year, hands down, the best crowds were all of the international crowds. Not one international crowd disappointed. From France to Scotland to Belgium, Italy, Spain, you name it. Unreal. But as far as this is concerned, there will be some who will call the outcome here a short-sighted one that brought Dominic's reign to an end unnecessarily. But this was an overabundance of fun and nostalgia. John Cena had a blast out there. Dominic proved his worth as a future headliner, and the crowd in Boston ate up every big spot in near fall. It was far from a classic, but this was pro wrestling at its best and most enjoyable. Kudos to John Cena for getting a win and title reign that arguably means as much to him and his legacy as the heel turn and the 17th World Championship reign earlier this year. What a moment. 3.5, teetering on 4 stars. I can honestly call this the fight of the night, honestly. The match, like I said, right around that 3.5, teetering on 4 range, more like 3.5. But the crowd was definitely 5 stars, and that crowd absolutely exploded. It was as if the Celtics had won the NBA championship at the TD Garden. It was as if the Bruins had won the Stanley Cup in the TD Garden. That's how unbelievable. That's how insane that pop was, and we still had so much exciting stuff to come after that moment. Now, before I give it to MF, I do want to make one more quick point, and that is, I know I'm probably in the minority about this, but there's a part of me that felt this should have been the main event. To send the crowd home. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better way to send the crowd home happy, especially in Boston, than that moment right there. But then Bullock presented a counter argument to me during our Raw chat, and he said starting the show off with a bang. And I will give him that. I absolutely will give him that. You want to talk about starting the show off with a bang? No better way to do it than with the hometown boy, John Cena, winning the one championship that has eluded him in his Hall of Fame career. He won every other championship there is to win. The WWE Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, the United States Championship, the Tag Team Championship. Not one, but 2 Royal Rumble match wins in 2008 and 2013. And then 2012, winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. The only accolade he can say he never won overall was the King of the Ring. He never won King of the Ring. But other than that, he doesn't need King of the Ring. As far as I'm concerned, you can make the argument that he is the King of the Ring, even without the fancy crown and the scepter and all that fancy good stuff from the King of the Ring itself. Next stop for him, once this is all said and done, the Hall of Fame. We could pretty much give him the keys to the Hall of Fame right now. And my bold prediction is 2026. I believe he is going to be the headliner for the WWE Hall of Fame 2026. I think that's where we pull the trigger. So if it's too soon, it's too soon, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. 3.5 stars for the match, 5-star crowd, excellent opening segment. You could not have asked. I can honestly say this was the best start to a Monday Night Raw, maybe all year. Not much more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher. John Cena. The one title that he had never won in his illustrious career, he can finally say, I have won that. John Cena, the new Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, defeating Dirty Dom. 12 minutes, 15 seconds. Monsoon, hit us with those magic words.
All right, before I do that, before I say it, let me backtrack myself. The promo was amazing. The crowd in Boston was excellent. This was exactly what WWE wanted, and that was to give the nuclear heat on Dominic Mysterio. They tried it a week ago with Rey Mysterio, and it failed about 50% of the time. This was the perfect place, the perfect guy, the perfect setup. You wanted Dom to be a heel. This was exactly what you needed to do. This is exactly the moment that you pull the trigger and have Dom come out, interrupting Cena, getting the fans to hate him immediately out of the gate, and then to do everything that they did was perfect. The outcome was predictable. I think we all felt when Cena, there was rumors that Cena and Dom were going to go at it. And I think Anthony, you, me, Bullock, we all were thinking, if this actually goes down, Cena's going to get the Intercontinental title. Does he need the belt? No. But because this was the last piece of the puzzle for John Cena, this was absolutely the perfect thing to have for him to have. He's never been the Intercontinental Champion. Never in his career. US, World Heavyweight, WWE, Tag Team Champion. He's won the Rumble. He's won Chamber. He's won everything that needed to be won. King of the Ring, we'll bypass that because during his era, they never really had a King of the Ring tournament. Maybe once in the blue moon. But John Cena accomplished something that no man has, that in his entire career, he is one of a few that can say, I am a Grand Slam champion. Not many can say that. He's one of them. And that is exactly the moment that you hoped for and was waiting for, and it happened. It was history making. History was made. It was an unprecedented crowning. It is a 3.5-star match because everything needed to fall in place, that it fell in place absolutely perfect. The fans in Boston gave what was undoubtedly the reason why. And you heard Cena saying it. We don't control a lot of the things that we can do. And honestly, and quite frankly, a lot of people in our minds felt like Boston should have been the ultimate goodbye. This should have ended John Cena's career. This was the home, the place, the birthplace. The story said it for itself. John Cena's career should have ended last night at TD Garden in Boston. It should not be ending in Washington, D.C. at the Saturday night's main event on December 13th. This was what it needed to be. And this is how perfect of a moment it was. Boston showed the WWE world that this is our son. This is our hero. And they treated him like a king that he so richly deserved. That's how you do the job. That's how you get it done. And I can say this, for me, for you, Florio, for Bullock, We know where he's going next week. The world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. As a matter of fact, if you really want me to say it, the night and the moment where John Cena truly became the star that he became then. WrestleMania 20, Madison Square Garden, New York City, when he beat the Big Show to win the United States Heavyweight Championship. Oh, by the way, his first championship in his main roster career. The first title he ever captured was in Madison Square Garden in New York. It's funny because if you want to think about it, New York was the first. Consequently, if you think about it, Boston's going to be the last time he ever wins a title, becomes an and new. You want to talk about Yankees versus Red Sox or New York versus Boston? Why don't we compare those moments? U.S. Heavyweight Championship win at a WrestleMania for New York City. Compare that with an Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship win last night on a Monday Night Raw in Boston, Massachusetts. Which one felt more bigger? Which one felt more apropos, as I would like to say? Why don't we rage on that debate? Florio, it's back to you.
Well, we could, but we don't have the time, MF, sorry to say. But that definitely is a story for another day, though. Absolutely it is. I mean, both moments were special in their own way. But if I had to give a quick thought, I would have to say last night was more special. So that's just me. But speaking of John Cena, we start our next match. We start off the Last Time Is Now tournament. It was Rusev squaring off against Damian Priest, and Rusev wins the match 8 minutes and 50 seconds. MF Rusev, the first man to move on in the Last Time Is Now tournament.
Yeah, and this was a fine match. You know, I know a lot of people's going to complain about certain moments and certain elements of this, but it all is random draw. So there's no way to manipulate who can get what. Rusev winning this match is perfect. Rusev had a rivalry with John Cena. Rusev had more of a story to tell than Damian Priest does. So obviously for Rusev to go over is perfect. And also the lure now of the Intercontinental Championship. If you think about it, Rusev has been going after that belt for a little while now. And Dom has always found a way to get to the victory, to steal the victory. Now Rusev doesn't have to worry about Dirty Dom. All of a sudden, now John Cena gets a shot. Now, with the Intercontinental title being with Cena, and consequently, if you really think about it, whoever wins this My Time Is Now tournament not only gets to face Cena, but most likely will now get a shot at the Intercontinental Championship at the Saturday night's main event. Like, if you wanted this to be even bigger, now you have a championship fight possibly in Washington, D.C. So the stakes get raised a little more higher. Rusev winning was the right decision because A, better rivalry with Cena, bigger rivalry than with Cena, but 2, it also now has to incorporate who are the guys that could be the next Intercontinental Champion. Because I think we all can agree, whoever faces off with Cena is most likely walking out the champion. So now you got to start looking at the top contenders. Rusev is one of them. And I do believe Rusev will go very far in this tournament. Just saying. Nothing more to say. This was about a 3-star bout. Anthony, it's yours.
2.5, teetering on 3. This was a step slower than expected, and most of the action took place during the commercial break. Damian Priest's comeback was incredibly abbreviated, and the finish came from out of nowhere, even if it made perfect sense given the context of the babyface's ongoing storyline ailments. Rusev has the deeper history with John Cena, so it makes sense that he would advance here. But it really is alarming how much momentum Damian Priest has lost since joining SmackDown. So, not much more to say there. 2.5, teetering on 3. Then we had another in-ring segment, a fired-up CM Punk. He hit the ring, but before we get to that, we had a backstage moment, Adam Pearce with Maxine Dupree, and he announced that next Monday night on Raw in Madison Square Garden, Maxine Dupree will have her rematch with Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And then shortly thereafter, Becky Lynch sucker punches Maxine Dupree, knocks her on her rear, and, well, read into that what you will. Now we get into CM Punk. A fired-up World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, hit the ring to address Logan Paul betraying him and aligning himself with the Vision, Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. Logan Paul claimed his eyes had been opened to a whole new vision after suffering a tsunami from Bronson Reed. And then Reed, Breaker, and Heyman appeared by Logan Paul's side shortly after. 3-on-1 beatdown ensued, but main event Jey Uso made the save. When that was not enough to even the odds, the undisputed WWE Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, he hit the ring to make the save and stood tall with CM Punk and Jey Uso. Can you say War Games? Oh, yes. We'll get into that in just a moment. This did not do much in terms of providing any real reason for Logan Paul's decision to partner up with Heyman, Breaker, and Reed, but it did bring all essential pieces together. The energy was great, and it finally felt like we might be en route to finding out who will headline Survivor Series in the men's War Games match. This is a vast improvement on some going nowhere, repetitive promo segments of recent weeks. And then later in the show, there was another backstage moment with Adam Pearce, and then he was approached by CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso. And then CM Punk calling in Mr. Regal, William Regal, and Mr. Regal said those magic words, War Games. And at Survivor Series, as of now, on one side, you've got Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. On the other side, you have main event Jey Uso and the two flag bearers of this company, the two faces of this company, the World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk and the undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. Is it going to be 4-on-4? Is it going to be 5-on-5? Only time will tell on that. MF, we got our War Games match. Mm-hmm. Let the speculation begin.
From what I've been hearing, it will be 5-on-5 for the men. That's the rumor that I'm getting. That's the word that I'm hearing from the dirt sheets, that it's going to be 5-on-5. And that possibly I may know who the final two men are on each side. I don't want to reveal, but 1, 2 on the face side, if it is, I will say this. If this is the 5, this will be the greatest team ever assembled in the history of the War Games of match. As a matter of fact, I'll say this. It may be the greatest team assembled in the history of the Survivor Series. On the face side. The heel side, still a strong squad, but if it's the 5 that I'm hearing that it could be, I'm telling you right now, 4 men are guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famers. And the 5th, who's Jey Uso, is definitely on the rise to possibly be a Hall of Famer. The 4 men that I'm talking about, well, should I say it, Anthony? Should I reveal my hand, or should I wait for a later date and hope and pray that I'm right about my prediction?
Your call, man. If you want to let the cats out of the bag, feel free. Whatever you want to do.
All right. I guess I can reveal. Well, no. I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna hold my cards because I want to make sure I'm right before I call it. I think Anthony knows where I'm leaning. I think you know where I'm going with that. With the certain players that I'm hearing, because you're probably hearing the same rumors as I am. So I'm gonna hold my cards. Not yet.
How about I put it in the chat, and then you can tell me if I'm right on your assessment.
Sure. I'll check it. I'm on.
And you're talking about the babyface side, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
One is correct. One is wrong.
Okay.
You're not right on one of them.
Okay.
One is definitely correct, but the other one is wrong. I'll tell you who. I'll show you who they are.
Okay. Oh, fair enough.
This is what I've been hearing.
Okay.
That's the 5, and the other, and
you'll fill out, and you're going to fill out the heel side too.
Yep.
Okay.
And there it is.
I've been hearing those guys too. Yes.
That's the 5. That's the 5 that I've been hearing on both sides. So that's why I'm saying
that's true.
Yeah. Again, I'm just telling you straight out. If the babyface side is that, I'm telling you, that is not only the greatest War Games crew, that's the greatest Survivor Series team in the history of the event. Bar none, hands down. Greatest team ever. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's on. Nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
All right. And nothing more to say here. Let's move on. Just all right. We had our next championship match. It was for the Women's World Championship. The champion, La Primera, Stephanie Vaquer, defending the title against the Judgment Days, Raquel Rodriguez. Of course, Stephanie Vaquer had the Hall of Famer, Nikki Bella, in her corner. Raquel Rodriguez had Roxanne Perez in her corner. Winner of the match in roughly an even 11 minutes. And still the Women's World Champion, Stephanie Vaquer. However, there was more than this afterward. What happened afterward, honestly, I saw coming from a mile away. Nikki Bella turns heel on Stephanie Vaquer, hitting Stephanie Vaquer with the Women's World Championship belt, laying her out, and the fans in Boston let her have it, serenading her with the chants of Cena left you. Whoa. MF, your thoughts on the match? And then Nikki Bella turning heel and getting serenaded as only the Boston fans could serenade her.
Yeah, first, solid match. I could say about 2.5 to 2 3/4. Like you said, the knockout by Nikki turning on Stephanie. In a way, it was shocking. In a way, it wasn't. Nikki's better as a heel. I think we all can agree with that. I think she's better as the bad girl and everything else. Here is something I heard that almost set me into a rage. One of my buddies, and I'll even call it out, Jake Turner, he had a feeling or a notion that he thinks that Nikki is going to win the title over Stephanie Vauquer. That Stephanie is going to lose this belt. I instantly dismissed it and said there's no way that could happen. Because, boy, the internet would implode. And not in a good way if Nikki walks out with the gold. A lot of people have been very skeptical of Nikki Bella since she got back in the company. And for her to get this title and literally stop the momentum of what undoubtedly would be the female wrestler of the year, for her to be the one to snuff out Stephanie, that would really hurt Stephanie's chances of being female wrestler of the year. It really would hurt her if she loses to Nikki Bella here. I don't know how that's going to play out. I don't know how that's going to be set it up. But I will say this. God, I hope that my buddy Jake is wrong. I hope he's wrong on this prediction or this theory. Because if he's right, you thought Cerebral Viper came out a few months ago. Man, it will come out in full force, and I'm going to be unleashing hell on everybody if that happens. There's really nothing more to say, so Anthony, it's yours.
Raquel Rodriguez looked great in last night's title bout. Really highlighted in the way the contest was laid out. She looked like a world beater, using her size and strength to wear Vauquer down and prove herself a worthy contender. It was the post-match with Nikki Bella that really put this match and segment over the top and earned the 3 to 3.25 star rating I'm going to give it. Though, as it set up as a high-profile championship encounter at some point in the near future. I don't know Jake Turner as well as you do, MF. But I know when it comes to your Discord crew, I know he's your right-hand man. I do know that. I could basically call him the AJ Hawk to your Pat McAfee. I'm sure I'm correct in that assessment. But in all honesty, I hope and I pray right there with you. I hope and pray he's wrong about that. Can you imagine? I mean, you thought that Nikki Bella got nuclear heat last night when she turned on Stephanie Vauquer. You heard that crowd. Cena left you. That's what they were. I even came across a little funny thing on Facebook this afternoon of one random user posted the real reason why Nikki Bella turned on Stephanie Vauquer when Stephanie Vauquer paid her respects to John Cena. You remember shortly after, in the right in the gorilla position, you noticed there were a lot of superstars male and female, congratulating John Cena on winning the Intercontinental Championship. And that fan said the reason why Nikki Bella turned on Stephanie Vaquer last night was because of Stephanie Vaquer paying her respects to John Cena. And we know the history of John Cena and Nikki Bella, including that sham of a marriage proposal at WrestleMania 33 after they won that mixed tag match over Miz and Maurice. It needed the pyro on that one. I'm just saying, but that's a story for another day. But, you know, it is what it is. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And I hope that Mr. Turner is wrong about this. Because if he is right and Nikki Bella wins that title, the nuclear heat she got last night will be child's play compared to the nuclear heat that Nikki Bella will get if Nikki Bella, God forbid, becomes the women's world champion when they eventually square off. It could be at Survivor Series. It could even be at Saturday night's main event. I don't know. But that is something we are most certainly going to have to keep an eye on. But I'm with you, MF. God forbid Nikki Bella wins that title. Stephanie loses all of that momentum. Stephanie Vaquer, right now, is the 2025 Female Wrestler of the Year, and it is not even close. The only one who was closest to her was Tiffany Stratton, winning the WWE Women's Championship on the very first SmackDown of this calendar year and holding it all the way to the first of this month on the Saturday night's on the last Saturday night's main event 10 days ago when she lost the title to Jade Cargill. If Vaquer loses that title, all of that momentum goes by the wayside.
And not only that, but it does open the door for Tiffany to actually claim the Female Wrestler of the Year.
Oh, definitely.
It could. Like,
definitely.
Out of the entire right now, it's a neck and neck race. Stephanie is holding lead, but if she loses to Nikki, that might be enough to have her lose the Wrestler of the Year honor to Tiffany. It could. It really could.
Yeah, okay. Nothing more to say on that. We'll we got a lot more to get into, so let's continue on here. The other Last Time Is Now tournament matchup. I'm almost certain this has got to be their first ever meeting. I don't know if I've ever recalled them meeting each other beforehand. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sheamus. Sheamus wins the match in 10 minutes and 40 seconds. And Sheamus moves on in the Last Time Is Now tournament. Another 3.25 to 3.5 star match. This one was a fun, high-impact bout matchup between two veteran competitors who are no strangers to each other. Sheamus is great. Shinsuke Nakamura was motivated. And the result was another in a string of fun quality matches in front of a red-hot crowd that has helped each of them significantly. This is like I said, 3.25, 3.5. Nakamura has a smidgen of history with Cena. You remember, it was in the summer of 2017 on an episode of SmackDown Live where I believe Shinsuke Nakamura defeated John Cena. And I think that match was for the right to challenge then WWE champion Jinder Mahal at the 2017 SummerSlam, if I recall correctly. MF would know that. He's the SmackDown guy. So I'm sure he'll let me know on that in just a moment. But in all honesty, as great as Shinsuke is, Sheamus needed this one more because let's not forget, there's a lot of history with Sheamus and John Cena, including which TLC 2009 took place on December 13th of that year, San Antonio, Texas. Sheamus did the unthinkable. He defeated John Cena in a tables match to win his first WWE championship. That was December 13th of 2009. The upcoming Saturday night's main event is December 13th. Could you imagine if it's Sheamus and John Cena? If Sheamus is the last man? And if John Cena is still the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion going into that? Could that finally set up Sheamus to win the one title that has eluded him, which is the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship? We'll see. 3.25 to 3.5 stars. Not much more to say. MF, just like with the Rusev and Priest match, they got the outcome right on this one. Sheamus defeating Shinsuke Nakamura 10-40. Sheamus, way more history with Cena than Shin.
No doubt about it. Total agreement. 3.25 stars. Yes, on everything that you said. Anthony, I'm making the bold prediction right here, right now. Sheamus is winning the tournament. Not Gunther, not anybody else. I want Sheamus to win it. And it's the reason you just said. He needs to be the Grand Slam champion. That's exactly the point I was about to make. Not the history, not the date, not everything about it. The mere fact that Sheamus needs to get the Intercontinental title to be the Grand Slam champion, just like Cena is. If he does it, that gives him the ticket to the Hall of Fame as well. It has to be Sheamus. I think any other person, unless it's Rusev, Sheamus needs this moment than anybody else because that's the last piece of the puzzle for him. So for me, Sheamus should win this tournament, and I feel like he needs to win this tournament more than any other person. Florio, it's yours.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know how I'm going to follow that, but I'm certainly going to try. Okay. MF. Shortly thereafter, General Manager Adam Pearce, along with the infamous Royal Rumble tumbler, you know how much we love that Royal Rumble tumbler, announced the next two matches. And these two matches will take place next week on Raw in Madison Square Garden. Javon Evans from NXT is going to go one-on-one with the man who will be making his return to WWE for the first time since SummerSlam, Gunther.
Oh.
Our boy may be feeling bouncy, but he's
no,
going to get bounced
you're going to bounce into a chop, kid. And that chop is going to sound like a gunshot going off, man. I can only imagine what Gunther's going to do to Javon Evans. I fear the worst.
Evans and Gunther next week in Madison Square Garden. And then in the other matchup, Solo Sikoa versus a surprise mystery opponent. Who on earth could that be? I bet you more than anything else, just like with Nick Aldis on SmackDown, with the surprise mystery opponent that's going to square off against LA Knight this Friday night on SmackDown in Albany.
It's somebody who doesn't work there.
I bet it's somebody who does not even work for WWE.
It has to be a bombshell. It has to be a massive name. For it to not be revealed, I mean, this could be an NXT. This could be a TNA guy. We don't know. This could be TNA. Hell, this could be AAA. AAA. You don't know. So if this is somebody from that, because remember, Cena said it's open to everybody from even companies that is not affiliated with WWE. So who knows who it could be?
Could you imagine, God forbid, it was someone from AEW?
There was rumors that it could be Adam Copeland, but I don't know. That's the only name I could think of. Because AEW would never, ever, ever want to work with WWE. But
Oh, no.
would WWE get this one time to let him work with them? I don't know. We'll wait and see.
We'll see who squares off against LA Knight Friday night in Albany. And we'll find out who squares off against Solo Sikoa next Monday night in the Garden.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, that's next week. And in addition to that, next week in Madison Square Garden, we got Javon Evans versus Gunther, Solo Sikoa, and that surprise mystery opponent, Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. And of course, next week will mark the final Monday Night Raw appearance ever by the new Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, John Cena. Main event for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. The champions, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, defending against the challengers and former Women's Tag Team Champions in their own right, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. Winners of the match, 10 minutes and 10 seconds. And once again, the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, the Kabuki Warriors, win the titles. But that was not all. Nia Jax and Lash Legend responsible. They cost Charlotte and Alexa the Women's Tag Team Championships. And then we had a 4-on-2 beatdown. Io Sky shows up, makes it 4 against 3. It looked like that the heels were going to have the advantage until Rhea Bloody Ripley, broken nose and all, with the nose guard on her face. And Rhea screams it out. War Games. Well, okay. As far as the match is concerned, this was 3 to 3.25 stars. Good, energetic match featuring some great one-on-one action from Charlotte and Asuka, capping off the night's show. Add in the returns of Io Sky and Rhea Ripley and the War Games challenge, and you have an exclamation point of a segment to close out a show that started red hot. So as of now, on the women's side, we have the new Women's Tag Team Champions, Asuka and Kairi Sane, along with Nia Jax, and the newest member of SmackDown in the main roster, Lash Legend, squaring off against, you want to talk about an all-star team on the babyface side, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley. MF, I'm going to call it right now. That right there is the greatest women's team I have ever seen. Not only for a War Games match, but that also includes traditional Survivor Series elimination matches that have featured women before. That's the greatest women's team I've ever seen.
That's the most powerful squad I've ever seen in my career as well. And with
all the championships between them.
I was about to add that Charlotte Flair I think she's like a 13-time world champion in her
14.
own right. 14-time world champion in her own right. Alexa Bliss, I think, is a 5-time women's world champion.
Sounds right.
Rhea Ripley is, I think, 3, 4?
Around that, yeah.
Around that. And then Io was, I would think, a 3-time champion in her own right. So, I mean, look at the body of work of all these women, all the accolades, all the titles that they won. And if you want to think about it, each one of them were at a time the face of the women's division in WWE. You had the Charlotte Flair era, where she was the queen, where she became the queen at the very beginning. Then you had the Goddess era, and I know. Anytime I talk about, the goddess and all this stuff, everybody starts jumping on me like nothing. But you got to say it. When Alexa Bliss was running around being the top girl in that company, she was the goddess. So we had the goddess era. Then we had the mommy era. Rhea Ripley taking over, running wild with the championship. And just recently, not too long ago, we were in Io Sky's era, the genius of the Sky era. We were in her era, running around as the champion, dominating and doing everything else. Without a doubt, this crew of 4 women, and there may be a 5th, we don't know. There may be a 5th, but right now, set up, if you put it apples to oranges, without a doubt, that's the best squad you've ever seen for a women's match going in. There may be one more. There may be another monster name coming down the pipeline. We don't know.
Stephanie?
Maybe? I was thinking AJ Lee.
Ooh.
You put AJ Lee in there.
Forget
it. It's over,
ladies and gentlemen.
It's over. So we'll wait and see what happens. But still, you put Stephanie in there, that's still a power. That's still a powerhouse in my mind. If it's not Stephanie, AJ Lee's probably the second choice I have going into War Games for the women. But if they do 4-on-4, I'm fine with it being 4-on-4 because look at the 4 you got. I mean, you don't really need a 5th. You don't really need to. So just those 4 alone probably wins it. So we'll see. But yeah, nothing more to say. History was made. I'm not calling it unprecedented crowning because
that's right.
It was a screw job finish. But congratulations to the Kabuki Warriors for once again taking back the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. 3 stars. Anthony, go.
Overall review, MF. I've heard a lot of praise on social media. I've even gone as far as to call it, and Bullock and I went as far as to call this one of the best Raws, if not the best Raw of 2025.
This is a 9 to 9.5. I don't think you can go any more higher than that.
Nope.
It's not a 10 because it wasn't perfect,
That's what he
but
said.
9 to 9.5. And yeah, I'll call it the Raw of the year. The best Monday Night Raw of 2025. The best U.S. Monday Night Raw of 2025. No doubt about it.
With the hottest crowd, too.
Yeah. One of the best crowd in the U.S. bar none. Best U.S. Best Monday Night Raw hosted in a U.S. city bar none. I think the only ones that were better was the Raw in England, the Raw in Brussels, the Raw in France was amazing.
The Raw after Mania.
The Raw after Mania. So I mean, you can say this is in the top 5 for the best Monday Night Raws for 2025, no doubt. So Florio, it's yours, 9 to 9.5.
That's the exact same rating Bullock gave it after we wrapped up our Raw chat last night, and I'm with you. This was also a 9 to 9.5 out of 10 for me as well. The show was sold on John Cena's homecoming, and as long as that delivered, everything else would be fine. Not only did it deliver, it provided a historic championship win in front of a red-hot audience that lived and breathed on everything their hometown hero did. Beyond Cena's stuff, there was a lot to like about this show, including the introductions of the War Games matches, some quality in-ring action, and a hot show closing angle featuring the return of the most consistently over star in the company in Rhea Ripley. This was a banger show and one that had a sense of urgency surrounding it. I know a lot of days people are very busy with work commitments and family responsibilities and all that stuff, and you don't have time to sit down and watch a whole show. This is one of the rare times where we're going to tell you, if you can somehow find a good 2.5 hours or so, you have to sit down and watch this show. This is a show you cannot fast forward through anything. Not one bad thing on this show. This was a damn near perfect show. A couple things could have been better here and there, but other than that, nothing There was nothing bad on this show, remotely bad whatsoever. 9.5 out of 10. 100% agree with MF's sentiments. So let's get into NXT. And we had it was from of course, the CWC. This will be the last show that will be there for. You're not going to see NXT in the CWC until the go home show for Deadline, the first Tuesday in December, which I believe would be the 2nd of December. I believe that would be December the 2nd. Because the next 2 weeks after tonight, it's going to be the theater at Madison Square Garden for that big 2-week Gold Rush special. And we're going to set the table for that for you during this NXT review. WWE Performance Center, the CWC, and we open it up with the culling. Shawn Spears, Nico Vance, and Izzy Dame accompanying the NXT Women's Champion Tatum Paxley to the ring for a promo. And the champ was all smiles as the crowd chanted her name and "You deserve it." Izzy said the culling just wants what's best for Paxley and encouraged her to stop handing out title shots to everyone who asks for one. Paxley said she wants everyone to get an opportunity so nobody backstage feels like she did when she was grinding to get there. Enter Fatal Influence so JC Jane could talk some trash. And then Paxley agrees to give JC Jane her rematch next week at Gold Rush. This segment did not overstay its welcome, but it still felt like it could have been handled quicker than it was. Paxley is great in her role, as is Izzy Dame, but the repetitiveness of this feud with Fatal Influence makes it hard to get invested. Even though even though we have there is that possibility of this could be the moment where Izzy turns on Tatum and perhaps JC Jane regains the title next week in the theater. So we'll definitely have something to say about that next week on this program for sure. All right. WWE Men's Speed Championship on the line. The champion, El Grande Americano, with Rayo and Bravo in his corner, squaring off against the winner of the Speed Tournament, the Contender Tournament, Jasper Troy. And the winner of the match in 4 minutes and 42 seconds, and new WWE Speed Champion, Jasper Troy. And you could hear Booker T on commentary. That was a proud papa moment for Booker T. Because if you saw LFG, you saw LFG season 1. We all remember it was Jasper Troy who was the men's winner of that show. He won the men's side of LFG season 1. And he does that, and now he can call himself the Speed Champion. The Speed Championship was designed for matches on social media, so the time limits made sense, but as a TV concept, it never has enough time to produce a great performance. Troy did his best, and Ludwig Kaiser is a great wrestler, whether he is under a mask or not, but that was not enough to make this stand out. We're not saying this was bad, and it actually had a couple of good spots, but WWE needs to rework this gimmick or scrap it. I mean, but hey, Jasper Troy, special moment for him, and he's off and running. So we're also going to bypass that, but we are going to address this though. Alba Fire with the AAA Mixed Tag Team Champions Ethan Page and Chelsea Green in her corner, squaring off against Thea Hale with Joe Hendry in her corner. And the winner of the match in 9 minutes and 49 seconds, Thea Hale. Thea wins the match. No surprise here. They got the outcome right because obviously Thea needs the momentum. I'll get into that in just a moment. While the ending was a bit overbooked, it was a fun match that had the crowd making noise the whole time. Thea Hale and Alba Fire brought good energy to the ring. And like we said, Joe Hendry and Thea Hale, the duo we never thought we needed. And WWE, let me tell you, they make a great duo, a fun duo, and WWE was very smart to put them together. This is a solid 3, teetering on 3.25 star match. And MF Thea Hale needed this win as it gives her momentum, because let's not forget, as part of Gold Rush, Thea Hale and Joe Hendry will challenge Chelsea Green and Ethan Page for the AAA mixed tag team titles.
Yeah, no, this was a 3-star bout. This was a fine matchup. I think it could have been better in certain areas, but overall, good fight. I enjoyed it. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, and we move on. Well, all right, Javon Evans then comes out, and he announced that next Javon Evans came to the ring for a promo with TNA X Division champion Leon Slater via satellite or on the screen, since he's not able to be there in person, or so we thought. And it was announced that at Gold Rush, Javon Evans and Leon Slater, as to the surprise of none of us, will indeed challenge Dark State for the NXT Tag Team Championships. And then it sets up a 3-minute women's speed tournament match. As we know, Zarya is in the final. And this match will take place as part of week 2 of Gold Rush in 2 weeks on the 25th. So it will be Zarya versus the winner of this match, Fallon Henley, with JC Jane and Lainey Reed, Fatal Influence, in her corner, squaring off against the young lady making her official NXT in-ring debut, the female winner of LFG Season 2, Skylar Ray, alias Danny Sikelski, coached by Michael Bullock's all-time hero, The Undertaker, mind you. And the winner of the match, 2 minutes and 14 seconds, it was Fallon Henley. So in 2 weeks, as part of week 2 of Gold Rush at the theater in Madison Square Garden, Zarya versus Fallon Henley for the Women's Speed Championship. And then it leads us into our next matchup. Tavion Heights squaring off against Josh Briggs. Tavion Heights wins the match, 9 minutes and 20 seconds. MF, finally something else relevant to get into on this mesh show tonight.
Yeah, this was a 3.25 star bout. I thought it was a fine match for what it was worth. Outcome never in doubt. Right man wins. It's yours, Anthony.
I forgot to mention about the speed women's match. Fallon Henley played the veteran and wanted to bully her opponent, but Skylar Ray kept her on her toes. They did their best to pack in as much as possible for that match. It didn't allow them to sell very much, and some leeway can be given to the rookie. Some moves looked good, but it was short and had a few notable missteps. Fallon Henley wins that. Blake Monroe interviews herself in a backstage segment. They shot it side by side and edited it pretty well to make it look like she was having a conversation with herself. We'll explain that in just a moment. Now, as far as Heights and Briggs goes, this is another 3-star match. Both of these guys work a very physical style, so this was the most competitive performance of the night up to this point. Heights managed to pull off the win, but this was clearly not the end of this story. It would not be surprising to see them have another match or two in the coming weeks. So, all right, now, I think this is now the moment where we're going to go ahead and set the table now for the 2 weeks of NXT Gold Rush. Next week's show will be live, but the following week, November 25th, it will air on a tape delay. So they're gonna do all this in one night. But next week's show will be a live show. The show we see in 2 weeks on the 25th, that will be a tape show. So here we go. Week 1. of NXT Gold Rush is as follows. For the NXT Women's North America, and by the way, every single match on this will be a championship match. For week 1, next week, Blake Monroe will have her first defense of the NXT Women's North American Championship against Sol Ruca. Sol Ruca medically cleared. Blake Monroe, Sol Ruca, NXT Women's North American Championship. Also next week, Ethan Page and Chelsea Green will defend the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championship against Joe Hendry and Thea Hale. Tatum Paxley defends the NXT Women's Championship in a last chance match against JC Jane. And finally, Dark State versus Javon Evans and Leon Slater for the NXT Tag Team Championship. That's next week. In 2 weeks, on November 25th, as part of the second week, Zarya versus Fallon Henley for the vacant WWE Women's Speed Championship. Kalani Jordan will defend the TNA Knockouts Championship against both Jordan Grace and Lei Ying Lee in a triple threat match. And how about this? Both Evolve Championships will be defended. For the men's Evolve Championship, it'll be Jackson Drake defending against Sean Legacy. And for the Evolve Women's Championship, Kendall Gray will defend against the newest member of Fatal Influence, Lainey Reed. And that is your card for the 2 weeks of NXT Gold Rush. How's that look? Sound good? So, all right. So it leads us into the main event of the evening. Last man standing. For the NXT Championship, the champion, Ricky Saints, defending against the challenger and former NXT champion in his own right, Trick Williams. Winner of the match, 15 minutes, 18 seconds, and still the NXT champion, Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints slays the dragon that is Trick Williams, but as the great Lee Corso would always say, not so fast, my friend. Ricky Saints celebrating the hard-fought win, but look who's back to take back his title. Who? The ruler, Oba Femi. MF, your thoughts. Ricky Saints wins it 15-18, but business has just picked up. The ruler is back and he wants his title back.
It was a great match. It was an unbelievable battle. Great main event. 3.5 to 3 3/4. You can call it fight of the night. And there was a lot of rumors that maybe Oba was going to be a part of the John Cena tournament. He might. We don't know. But as of now, this might seal his fate. He's back in NXT. And if he's going after Ricky, oh no, is all I can say. Yeah, it's on. So nothing more to say. Anthony, 3.5 to 3 3/4 fight of the night. And with the ruler coming back, oh Ricky, get ready, bro. It looks like you're gonna have your hands full now.
Oh, absolutely. They were given a lot of time to work, but did not go overboard on how many times they teased one of them not being able to answer the 10 count. Despite being put through a wall, Ricky Saints was able to get the win. As he was celebrating, Oba Femi shows up to end the show. And oh boy, business has damn sure picked up. It might be too late to add this to Gold Rush, but I could see this maybe at Deadline. I'm thinking Deadline, December 6th. I think we're going to get it in San Antonio. I think that's where we'll get the rematch with Ricky Saints and Oba Femi for the NXT Championship. Or unless they decide to do it on a random NXT show. You never know. But I think Gold Rush is pretty much all set. So the next best possible date for me would have to be Deadline, December 6th. Overall, well, after an incredible Monday Night Raw, it was definitely back to reality here tonight. Tonight's NXT featured 2 title matches that did not see any titles change hands, unlike last night when we had 2 title switches. But the show did set up some interesting possibilities for the future. Tavion Heights and Josh Briggs put on a hard-fought bout, but nothing else on the show could stack up to the main event with Ricky Saints and Trick Williams. Not only did the last man standing match deliver some entertaining moments, but it led to Obafemi's return as he seemingly staked his claim as the next challenger for the NXT Championship. Tonight's show as a whole was nothing overly special, but it did set up some interesting possibilities for the future. I will give it that. So I would say in excess of, we had 3 good matches and some other things here and there. So I'm flirting with right around 5.5 to 6. I think that's the best I can go. So 5.5 to 6. MF, your overall thoughts, and then we'll quickly get into Jets and Patriots on Thursday night.
Yeah, it's a 6 for me. I thought it's a 6, so nothing more to say. Anthony, let's go into Thursday night.
Thursday night football to kick off week 11 of the NFL season. Thursday night, 8:15, Amazon Prime Video. It's Thursday night football. And this is our number 6 game of the week. Could have been the Zonk game of the week, but there's one game that's actually worse than this. But you can make an argument that this is also a Zonk game of the week, although it's number 6 out of 7. We got the New York Jets squaring off against the New England Patriots, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kaylee Hartung, as always. New England opening up as a 13-point favorite in this one. Series history favors New England. Regular season, 73-55 with a tie. They split last year, both teams winning at home. So the Patriots won in Foxborough 25-22 last year. The Jets have not won in New England. Overall, it was in January of 2011 in an AFC divisional playoff. That was in January of 2011. Regular season-wise, the Jets have not won in Foxborough since 2008. And that was also, ironically, a Thursday night football game. So let's dive on in. The Jets have won 2 consecutive games in gritty fashion for Aaron Glenn over the 2 Ohio teams, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. The New England Patriots have been relentless with their offense and improving defense with 7 straight wins under their first-year former defensive player coach Mike Vrabel. New York is playing better defense and special teams to help itself, but New England has the big edge in offense with Drake May. Even though the Jets have been playing better, they're not going to beat New England. New England is too good right now. They're coming off that huge win in Tampa Bay last Sunday. And now they have a stranglehold on the AFC East. The advantage is totally theirs now. And there's nothing else to say. So I got the New England Patriots winning this game. I think it's going to be closer than the spread indicates. I think 13's a little high, but that's just me. But I think the Jets are going to cover that spread, but I still have New England winning the game comfortably, though. I'm going to go 30-20. New England defeats the Jets on Thursday night, keeps their winning ways going. Not much more to say. Take us home, MF.
Yeah, no, this is a pretty easy call for me as well. I do believe it will be New England winning the game. There's really not much more to say on this one, Anthony. So yeah, it's yours.
And that will indeed put the bow on this Veterans Day edition of Ridiculously Raw. And I would be remiss if MF and I didn't take a moment to, on behalf of all of us here at Talking Wrestling TXN, pay our respects and say thank you to all of the brave men and women who have served our country. I mean, you're the real heroes, and you're the reason why we that we do this show, and we couldn't be any more grateful for that. And I'm hopeful that we made your special day hopefully we helped you cap off your special day the best way possible. So, and we want to thank you all, and to the rest of you out there, all of our loyal fans out there. We also want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We'll be back with you again on Thursday night, right back here on the Tone 25 at 10:30 for the Week 12 edition. Wow, Week 12 already. That's crazy. The Week 12 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. Some very exciting matchups on the docket. We'll get into that on Thursday night. Friday night, also here on the Tone 25, we have the Week 11 edition of NFL Friday. We'll do a quick recap of Jets and Patriots, and we'll get into the remaining games of week number 11. And just like with the college, we got some good games on that docket as well, including the Seahawks and the Rams for first place in the NFC West. And we also have the Lions and the Eagles in a huge Sunday Night Football matchup. The Chiefs and the Broncos, AFC West and playoff implications in that one. So much to get into on Friday night. And then Saturday night, the Cerebral Smack Talk. And we're finally going to address TNA Impact, because TNA Impact returns this week with first run content with a live show from NXT's former stomping grounds, Full Sail University. You do not want to miss that on Thursday night. And then from there, not only TNA, but we'll also get into Friday Night SmackDown. And then 1 week from tonight, we do it all over again with Ridiculously Raw, Monday Night Raw from Madison Square Garden, NXT, and we will preview next week's Thursday Night Football game featuring the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans in Houston. That should be a good matchup there. So that's it. So until Thursday night for the Week 12 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday, this is Anthony Florio here on behalf of all of us here at Talking Wrestling TXN. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, the Phenom Michael Bullock, and always and forever our First Lady, the Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Thursday night for College Football Thursday, you have been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody. Bye.